So Xavier from Lichfield and Hangman's Him is on
Yep,
Nightbreed.
and a bunch of other stuff.
Bunch of other stuff. Beautiful. Well, we've got plenty to talk about then. Welcome to the show, man. How's it going?
Thanks. I'm doing good. Slow Sunday morning in Germany as usual.
Yeah, nice. So I guess for Lichfield, you got that one started 2019, is that right?
2020. Actually, most of the bands I have now started last year during the COVID lockdowns, and a lot of us were in home office. So, yeah, no one had much of anything to do. People who already had a band weren't doing gigs or whatever, so everyone was just like, okay, we need to write some music, And I'm actually Belgian, but I live in Germany, in Frankfurt. And so Lichfield started here. I was looking around for a band to have here, something where I could go to rehearsals and stuff, because obviously I'm not going to rehearsals in Belgium, not often. So something also social. And yeah, I met these guys and they were cool and it clicked. They were looking for a female singer in the beginning, but I managed to persuade them. And yeah, so we're now working on our full album after the EP came out. And I think, like for most bands, it's been pretty slow.
Mm. So yeah, I was going to ask, has Lichfield had a chance to play any shows at all? Or?
No. First of all, the scene here in Frankfurt isn't very big. It's mostly hard rock and stuff like that. And even then, there aren't a lot of venues left, which is a problem. I mean, all over Central Europe, I think. Most of the cool venues, smaller venues, is just gone. So everything is a fest now, you know? Everything's a festival, and those are things that you need to get into in advance, and a lot of things that are happening now are actually festivals that were postponed last year, or postponed in the beginning of the year, and to be honest, we're not even looking for gigs in 2021. We're just looking for gigs next year. Because it doesn't make sense to try to fix something last minute that's probably not organized the way we would like. We've all been in metal for 20 years or longer, so we know we know how it goes.
Yeah. So with Lichfield, what are some bands you all dig? Like, what kind of sounds specifically are you going for with that one?
I think like a mix between Gothenburg, that metal style, and some more doomy stuff. So like Insomnium, Amorphous, early Catatonia, Paradise Lost, stuff like that. For the future, we'll probably also the full album is going to be probably a little bit more diverse, where we'll have like a slower, more hymn-inspired song and a more death metal-inspired song, just hoping to blend it together well. So that's...
No, cool. How'd you go recording Dead Trees, like the EP? Are you able to be in the same room during all this crazy, lockdown stuff?
No. Everyone recorded their own parts at home, and then we sent it off for some final mixing and mastering. But today it's really easy. Like Sebastian, our guitar player, has a Kemper, so profiling amp. So that means, it's really easy to pick a sound and to create an interface with your laptop. So it's actually the way I prefer to work these days, because as a small band going in the studio, it's not always a great experience.
Yeah, get more stress and that kind of thing. Yeah, time pressure, that sort of stuff.
Well, time pressure, and it's just that there's because studios are in such financial problems these days. It's smaller studios overcharge because they, of course, want to make money, which is perfectly natural. But for a small band, like for a debut album, you don't want to shell out a few thousand euros for a product that's, if it even is going to be better than if you do it yourself, it's only going to be marginally better, and most people won't even hear it. And if you go to a big studio as a small band, it just, they do the edits and they do the mixing just like between the main and dessert, So in my experience, I've done a lot of studios, especially early on in a band's career. I prefer just doing everything myself.
Yeah, cool. What's the writing process like with Lichfield? Like you said, they were looking for a singer. Did you write lyrics when you came in there, or did they kind of have everything already?
They had a few songs, or the broad structures of a song. When I joined the band, I re-edited some tracks and wrote the lyrics and vocal lines and stuff. But most of the songs were already there in one shape or another.
Okay. And what about now? Like you say you're preparing for an album. Are you all sort of writing for that?
Yeah, we're all doing it together online. One person will send a few ideas and the other will elaborate on that, and then we'll send it back for feedback and so on and so on.
Cool.
It works pretty well.
Yeah. So what's the, do you have a release date in mind for your up the long forward?
For full, it's somewhere next year. It'll also depend on label response, and it'll also depend on the situation, because we want to, before we release a full album, we at least want to do a few concerts. We want to get out there. It wouldn't make sense to release a full album if we haven't played live yet, because people need to see your face. And also, even when it comes to social media, you need some content, you need some live footage, you need stuff. Otherwise, nobody's gonna care. But it's not basement black metal, where so people will want to see something before we release.
Cool. Well, talking about black metal, Hangman's Hymn, your other project you got going on. How did that one start?
Basically it started. Guy and me known each other for 20 years, and we had been in bands before together. Nothing that really went anywhere. But I wanted to also make something more black metal, 90s black metal, nothing too grim or evil, just something that I would like to perform, I would like to sing, I would like to play. And I contacted him and he was on board immediately, and he started writing the songs, did a few edits, wrote lyrics, wrote vocal lines. We found a drummer, and they went into the studio in Belgium to record drums and guitars and bass. And I recorded my vocals in my home studio. And a very similar way of working to Lichfield. Only that for Hangman's Hymn, we use Guitar Pro to do our preliminary sketches. So we sketch out everything in Guitar Pro. We make pilot tracks. Afterwards, everyone can comment, okay, what do you think of this? What do you think? Should I play a little bit more in this style or in this style? And then we went into the studio, and that's also what we're going to do for the full album next year. Same thing as with Lichfield. We want to, before we release anything, we need to do some gigs. But that's the idea.
Yeah, cool. So, pandemic permitting, if everything opens up, and will you go between Belgium and Germany for shows and things? Like, what's the plan?
Yeah. I still have friends and family in Belgium, so I'm there at least every 3 weeks for a few days. So that won't be an issue. Like I said, we're all experienced musicians. We don't need to rehearse every single week. So we'll rehearse to get the songs tight. We'll rehearse for when we do a concert, when we write new songs. So that's great. I don't like senseless rehearsals anyway, where you go play the same 5 songs every week until you're so sick of them that when you play them live, you don't even want to hear them anymore. So no, that'll work out. And it's not it's not the most technical music in the world either. So that's.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, playing over and over again, you can do that by yourself. You know, like that's practice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yeah, that's cool.
But when I started being in bands 25, 26 years ago, that was the thing. You would rehearse every week in a crappy rehearsal room, probably someone's basement. And you would do that because you had nothing better to do. It was like you were a teenager. You're like, oh yeah, I'm in a band. Yeah, I'm going to rehearsal. Yeah, check me out. Whereas these days, it's, dude, I'm working. I don't want to spend every weekend in a small rehearsal space going deaf.
Yeah, man, fair enough. It's good. So with Hangman Tim, are you the same kind of process at the moment, writing, getting ready for an album?
Yeah, exactly. Like the influences there are more like 90s black metal, so Old Man's Child, early Dimmu Borgir, early Covenant, things like that. Has some keys, not overly keyboard heavy, and so it's something we try to do, just make the music that we grew up with, make the music that we want to hear and we want to play. And we're also trying to do that for the full album. It'll be a little bit more complex. The song structures will be a little bit more complex. The playing will be a little bit more technical. But all in all, same concept. So, yeah, and we already more or less have all the songs written for the full album. So it's just, we're already in a stage where we're recording the pilots now, and we're gonna try to get, with Hangman's Hymn, we're gonna try to get ahead of things a little, so that the album is completely ready by the time we get to live shows. Because also it's gonna be easier to get live shows in Belgium and surrounding countries with a black metal band, because black metal is just the more popular genre at the moment.
Okay, so what about Germany? Is there a black metal sort of scene or gigs going on in Germany?
Yeah, there is, but the difference is Germany is a very big country, so the scene is very spread out. You have some hotspots that are internationally known, like Leipzig and Berlin. But other than that, there's not a huge concentration in one area. So that's the difficulty. Also, when you want to find a band in Germany, quite often you just don't find the people near you. And that's the same with gigs. There's to be able to find similar bands to perform with, and to find a venue that makes sense, you're probably going to need to travel quite a bit. In Belgium, for example, or in the Netherlands, that's not the case, because those are really small countries with very dense scenes. So you're basically tripping over metal musicians in those countries, So that does make it a lot easier, and the scene's more active. Where in Germany also, I have the feeling the scene is not as specified. You don't have In other countries, you have really black metal oriented scenes or death metal oriented scenes. And in Germany, it's more of a general metal scene with also a lot of hard rock and stuff like that in it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, look, Xavier, thanks so much for your time. I really enjoyed both the EPs. So I'm definitely looking forward to hearing, longer releases. And I hope you make it to the stage soon.
We will. It's just we're all pretty relaxed about it, but 2022 will be a busy year, definitely.
Yeah, nice one. Cool. Awesome. Well, hey, thanks a lot. Have a good one, man.
Okay, thanks. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.